When adapting just about anything into a movie, chances are we're about to see some deviations from the source material. Not everything would be translated one-to-one, and we're bound to see a different take of a story we're already familiar with. However, with all that being said, why bother calling this the Super Mario Galaxy movie if you're going to make so many changes to the story? Hello and welcome to a new video discussion series. My name is Peter, your friendly neighborhood Batonic Spider. Now, I may be late to the party, but today I wanted to take a few minutes to reflect on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. As with most copyright policies I'd rather not risk, I will not be showing any movie footage right here. Instead, I'll be playing some background gaming footage from different Mario games. If you like what you see and would like to hear more discussions, theories, and commentary, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. What was your favorite part of the movie, and how do you feel about the core changes? Before we dive right in, I will be going in depth into the movie, so spoilers are ahead. With all that being said, let's begin. To kick things off, I wanted to ask the question, why? Why was it necessary to make the jump to Galaxy right away? If you ask me, the second movie should have been clearly called the Super Mario World movie. Listen, you already set up Yoshi at the end of the first movie. Bowser Jr. being the main villain could have still been an option, and we could have had more time exploring the cinematic version of the Mushroom Kingdom. The jump from the first movie to this one honestly feels like a jump from Sonic 1 to Sonic 3. There's just so much that happens in the main Mario Galaxy game that could have been its own movie, adapted one-to-one. We don't even get to spend too much time on the planets we get, and we miss out on so many of the worlds we get to see in the main game. There is so much potential for exploration, epic montages, and emotional moments that could have helped this movie go for an epic 2 hours. Why rush such a massive game to something that's clearly not as ambitious? Why? To appeal to the families and the kids who can't sit still. You know, in my headcanon, this will be called the Super Mario World movie, because Galaxy, it's just a more ambitious Mario title. With that being said, let's talk about the characters, cause oh boy, they made a lot of changes, and there are two big things I will be talking about here. So let's first start with the fumbles, and then make our way to the top, shall we? The biggest character fumble in this movie was Rosalina. She was heckin' nerfed. Like, what the frickin' heck, man? I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer and a negative Nancy, but dang it, son. Capturing Rosalina and making her the damsel in distress was probably not the right move. She clearly can fight for herself, and those opening moments were just proof of that. She is very powerful and very OP, and if it weren't for that silly little purple Luma who came out the door and said, "Hey mama, I had a bad dream," she clearly would have yeeted little Bow Wow into orbit. A big heckin' fumble, if you ask me. Why make this a Super Mario Galaxy movie if the main princess who guides Mario into the cosmos won't be there throughout the ride and is instead reduced to a plot device? You know it's a problem when frickin' Fox McCloud has more screen time than Rosalina, who's actually in the game. But more on Fox later on. I low-key feel bad for Nintendo mega fan Brie Larson, who was clearly a lot happier to play Rosalina than she ever was for Captain Marvel. I think her voice fits really well, and she should have played a much bigger role. Now, as for the next major change, Peach and Rosalina are sisters now. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what the first thing that came to mind as soon as the change was unveiled in that library room? I'll give you a moment to guess, but I'm sure it'll be hard to let it go as soon as you hear the comparison. Oh yes, folks, that's right. Nintendo has its own Anna and Elsa now. What's funnier is how Miyamoto has recently come out and said, "Oh my goodness, this is brilliant. We need to make this canon to the main Mario games like yesterday." First of all, sir, with all due respect, Since when was the lore even important to your Mario games? And second of all, may or may not have seen this coming, but I knew all heck would rain loose if they made the thought official. What are the implications of this, and why is this a good idea? Now lower down your pitchforks and hear me out. That's right, folks. I said this is a good idea. And by the way, if you ship the two of them together, then what the heck is wrong with you, you incest lovers? Get good. Get on your heckin' feet and walk out the door, touch some grass. Okay, but all jokes aside, this actually is not too far off from my own childhood theories and could play out really well in the games. Maybe Rosalina and Peach were sisters to begin with, but after reading through my copy of Rosalina's book, once again, quite the nifty collector's item if you ask me, I noticed that there's a page that mentions that she doesn't have a sister, only a brother. Maybe Peach was born after she drifted off into space with the lonesome baby Luma. Not quite sure, but how on earth is Miyamoto going to explain this to the main canon? Why, folks, the plot thickens like the chickens. I don't know how I feel about this. It's a good idea, it's ambitious, but oh boy, they're gonna have to do a lot of explaining for the next mainline Mario game. Anyway, moving on. Bowser had a very funny arc this time around. Following his defeat in the first movie, the whole bit where Bowser was going good, pulling a Bugs Bunny on Mario, and becoming BFFs with Luigi was hilariously unexpected, but very fitting of Jack Black's mannerisms, but definitely never what I thought the game Bowser would do. If anything, he was a good dad. That is, if you consider raising a psychotic little dragon with a kick-ass paintbrush. Really loved the use of Bowser Jr. Like I said before, adding him in the second movie was a great idea and creates a fascinating story angle for Bowser getting captured. While I'm delighted that Jr. ended up reforming his dad back to his evil roots, I think the good Bowser idea is kinda silly, but hey, this is a family picture, and lots of casuals are watching it for fun. It's alright to add a bit of silliness, especially keeping in mind this movie is being animated by Illumination, the maniacs responsible for and oh yes, quite exquisite comedy set a random casual in the theater. Alright. Now, before I get to the two goats of the movie, I'll quickly say this. Peach is a fun character in this one. While the movie has her new origin story, I don't think we see much development or changes to her or Captain Toad. Yeah, that's right, baby, Captain Toad! He's finally here! Toad finally gets his backpack and his giant night vision goggle, though I don't think enough is done to them this time around to warrant a grand discussion. The same actually applies to Mario. While he has an amazing story arc in the first movie, this time around, he's just here being the Mario we all know and love. Just a fun hero to see on the screen with the wahoo and the plumber who goes on wacky new adventures with his good brother, Luigi. Luigi, on the other hand, thankfully gets more screen time this time around and is a joy to watch on screen. I was so happy because Luigi got the damsel in distress role the last movie, and let me tell you, that was one of the weakest moments of the movie. That is until he ended up teaming up with Mario to fight Bowser at the end. Man, see, this is another problem of mine. I think they really fumbled the grand finale, cause like, the final battle in the last movie was very epic. You had the superstar, you had the power-ups, and it'll be tough to top, right? And so I was thinking, hey, maybe they're gonna adapt one of the Mario Galaxy final bosses. I think seeing Dry Bowser was kinda cool and all, but the power-ups weren't nearly as exciting this time around. I mean, the Superstar Showdown, that's gonna be hard to top. Cause like, I had tears in my eyes the last time, and it was enough to make a grown man cry. But, you know, I digress. It is what it is, and I guess we'll see what happens next movie. Lastly, let's talk about the two highlights of the movie. First of all, freaking Fox McCloud. Like, what the heck is Fox doing in a Mario Galaxy movie? I was quite shocked and wish Illumination never dropped his character poster. I know GameXplain leaked him before, but you know, I didn't want to believe it until I saw it, and oh my gosh. Seeing Star Fox in that epic montage was really freaking epic. I low-key went wild despite my knowledge of Star Fox being limited to briefly playing Star Fox 64 3D and of course every Smash Bros game. I know, I've got to sit down and actually play these games. I don't want to take the L and get called a LARPer, so all I'm gonna say is, good job, Glenn Powell. You did a great job with Fox, and hopefully Universal and Nintendo greenlights that solo Star Fox movie, which gets set up at the end of the movie. I'm really hoping we get an announcement of a game on the Switch 2, or that movie in the future. That would be so hype. Speaking of Super Smash Bros., it was pretty groovy to see my robot boy Rob, Game & Watch, and a couple of Pikmin on the big screen. It's almost like we're assembling all the gaming icons for a Super Smash Bros. Cinematic universe, right? Well, not exactly yet, because it's confirmed that Fox comes from an alternate universe, thank goodness. Though it is not too unusual that Game & Watch, Rob, and human characters like Little Mac exist in the Mario universe. This is because we've already established the human world and the Mushroom Kingdom are connected through warp pipes. With Fox out of the way, it's time to finish things off with Yoshi. He is my goat and usually my main in most Mario games, Smash included. So you know I went wild when that Yoshi egg first showed up at the end of the first movie. Not only did they make him a scene stealer, but also make him one of the most hysterical characters in the movie. You know, I was laughing my socks off once I heard that mildish Bambino himself, Donald frickin' Glover, would be the voice of Yoshi. I was just so confused, but surprised like the rest of the internet. Well, I'm glad they chose the limited dialogue route to only have him say Yoshi, Yoshi, and give him one of the most iconic scenes in the movie, which is the New York walk, which I feel should have included Walk the Dinosaur instead of Hypnotize if we were to include a pop song. I feel like Yoshi was very well done, and definitely my favorite character in the movie. Was the movie a masterpiece? No. It was indeed a chaotic fever dream that was pure ADHD from start to finish. I enjoyed my time watching the movie, but man, do I feel like they really should have held off from adapting Galaxy, at least for a third or fourth entry. In the post-credit scene, they set up a Star Fox solo movie, and also show off Daisy. While I think this is cool and all, I do believe that unless they slow the heck down next time and refrain from introducing so many characters, we may have a better chance of a smoother film. Then again, this is the Super Mario series, where the story isn't usually the main focus. It's typically just the fun platforming, the whimsy and colorful characters, and the general experience. Hence why these movies make a lot of money. It's animated, everyone looks great and accurate, we get orchestral renditions of the OST, and to top it all off, it's generally just a fun watch with the fam or with your groovy homies. Just don't expect the film to be a masterpiece or a deep emotional adventure, which is kind of disappointing because like the first Mario Galaxy game was definitely very emotional. So what did you think of the Mario Galaxy movie? Did you enjoy your time watching it? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching, God bless, and have a wonderful day.